Don't you think this is starting to wear on me? You've been raining down like hell. I'm weak. I have tried to give you my soul, but you can't love something you own. It's too late to repair what we made. What can I do? Time flashed by and I woke up on the other side of the moon.
G'day everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Anna and this is You Got Me in Stitches. I hope everybody's had a really good week, whatever you have been up to. Today I am coming in at you with one make, and it's been languishing for a little bit there, but it's now finally finished and constructed. The top I am wearing is this one, New Look K6230. The size that I made was a size 10, made a little while ago now, and the fabric was from my friend's store. It has these little stars on there. It's really super comfortable. I did actually have them rolled up the sleeves, but just so you could see the stars I just unrolled the sleeves. But again, with those long sleeves you have the choice of short or long. The pattern that I used for today's garment is this Vogue one, and it's been languishing for a little while now. Lana, some of you guys may remember from previous videos, so it's 7054, and this one was kindly gifted to me originally. This is how our sewing friendship has begun, through the very kind Leslie that sent me some patterns, and it was this one that I saw first. Leslie being the same kind Leslie that sent me the happy mail of the fabric, thread and buttons last week. This pattern is a sit size 8, and clipped all the original tissue paper. Yeah, so I traced it out because this is uncut and I want to preserve it as much as possible. These are my traced out pieces on recycled brown paper, and it wasn't intentional, but I just noticed it, just even to say a size 8 there on the hanger. The fabric that I decided to use for this garment was from one of the monthly subscription boxes, which is So Hayley J. It is this viscose challis, and with the drape and the weight of this fabric, I thought it would work really well with this long floaty skirt that this garment has. Before I show and tell about the garment itself, I just want to touch upon the instructions and the little bib part there with the two small pieces of the waistband. Now, attaching them and following the instructions, that was straightforward. It was just, I don't know, I had a bit of a brain freeze or something, and they just didn't seem to match up. I'll just show you guys the piece that I mean. So here, when you fold the top part down, you would think it would cohesively kind of blend in here, and you wouldn't want a gap, and that's kind of what happened to me. What I did, I just put it to one side and just let it languish for a few weeks. To be fair, it just ticked me off for a little while. But yeah, eventually I came back to it, and all I did in the end was just do the fold a little bit more, and also I lined it, because those two pieces, the fabric itself, although it is a good quality fabric, it still needed a little bit of rigidity, and also I lined the front body bib. So those two waistband pieces, because this fabric is, this pattern is kind of fabric hungry, eking out enough for the 2.5 yards that came in the So Hayley Jane box. Kind of had to do a little bit of tittressing there, but I managed it. So the waistband back pieces there, on the inside I just used 100% white cotton. It added a little bit of structure, and at that time I did not put any iron-on interfacing inside because I thought the two complemented each other with the structure, and I didn't really want to put the iron-on interfacing on the viscose fabric. Don't ask me why, I just didn't. But anyway, it worked and I'm happy with that in the end. The bib part on the front I also lined with just regular lining that I had in my collection, and it was only because the viscose chalice was just a little bit thin, so I just wanted that little bit of extra covering, and especially as it's the front. I also added bias binding, and I didn't want any visible stitches along the outside of the front, so how I attach that binding to the lining, all the stitches are just on the lining. A little bit of a trick there, but because I also deviated from the pattern, you can see here, you can see her shoulders a lot, and the neck part is pretty high up on her neck, and because I'm quite tall and I didn't kind of realise to start with when I was cutting this out, I thought there was enough fabric. Now there was enough fabric to cover the front of me. The only thing is a little bit of gaping at the side, and obviously I didn't want to expose my tiny little lady humps there. And so what I did, which was kind of a little bit of a happy accident, so where I had installed the bias binding, I used it as a channel, so I installed some elastic just to gather it and nip it in a little bit, so then I have a little bit of extra security there and no nasty peeking of anything really horrible. Also, you will see there quite a few gathers, and on my one there's less gathering, but that's okay, and like I said, it just comes down a little bit lower. But again, happy accident, really pleased how it's come up, and overall it's good, and I would make this again, and I have fabric already in mind, and it might also be another fabric from the wonderful Soul Hayley Jane boxes. Also the two ties, I know it with fabric print that doesn't kind of go through to the wrong side, sometimes you like to double up with those fabrics, so then you see the beautiful colours of whatever fabric it is that you use. Again, I didn't have enough fabric to cut out 4 pieces of those ties, so it is one, but to be fair, I think it's worked okay. I managed to just get away with it. The two front ties, they are actually part of the back bodies in one whole piece. The two tie fronts, those actual pieces are part of the back bodies, and then you just bring them around the front and tie. I have the piece there, so that's what it looks like. With that piece being large and a bit of an awkward shape, placing that on the fabric, I didn't want to lose too much fabric, especially with the other pieces, and you want to kind of Tetris everything in. So what I did, I configured to slice the actual tie parts off of the back bodies and then re-sew them when I came to the actual construction, and it worked fine, so that was good. I have the two pieces here, you can see how large that bodice is, and then you would have the tie, so I just simply made that 2 pieces. Righto guys, I flipped the camera around so you can see the garment inside and outside and all the details, and talk through the changes so then you can actually see them as opposed to me just talking about it here. Starting off with the front top, I added these 2 additional buttons. It is purely because of the straps. They were supposed to be sewn in kind of like a channel, but where I had changed out the design of the front there, I in the end just stitched the strap there and then added that button to hide kind of the thread, because I didn't really want any thread showing on the outside. Here we have the waist ties, and you see what I mean about the fabric. Should have really been 2 fabric, but I don't think it's that bad. I have just pinned the dress to the drape there purely to show you guys the amount of fabric, because if it's just hanging it looks quite slim. You see there it's quite long. So this is the back. It has the tail here where it's kind of a large open keyhole. Want for a bit of description. These are those two waist backband pieces. Show the inside in a few moments. Yes, it has a zipper, and I'm ashamed to say, really crappy installation. Can have my little Bible down there. Hopefully no one will be that close to notice. Did my best to match that up. The zipper was supposed to go all the way up there, but I decided, where I played around with these bands, I opted for a hook and bar, and I've taken the pins out so you see the drape there. I have attempted to hang this as best as I can. This is the inside of the front. I've put a couple of pins there because obviously the weight of the dress is making it distorted, and I want to show you guys the details. So the easiest way to do that was just to pin it there. So this is the regular lining, put an elastic channel there which is just under the neck. This is the bias lining that I was telling you guys about, and the elastic has gone in the channel there. That is to make it a little bit more snug at the side of the bust area, so there's no embarrassments. Serged the edge there, does need a little bit of a press. Also, this dress has pockets, not very big pockets, but pockets nonetheless. When I first started constructing this skirt, I was doing French seam, so this front seam is a French seam. Not entirely sure why there is a seam down the front, possibly because of the size of the fabric pieces, maybe trying to fit it on, you know, today's modern fabric, I don't know. Following down to the hem, all I decided to do was flip it over near the hem twice, and then just a regular stitch length. Like with what I have been doing my best, I have pinned it to get the shape a little bit more concise for you guys to actually see. Maybe I should have done a flat lay, but it's still not laying or hanging correctly. So this is the best I can do, guys. So along the body spec, there's just a small narrow double fold hem, regular stitch length, and the same with this keyhole, detail, channel there for the tie to go through, and then the inner seam there just gets serged, and then double fold on the body spec hem. These are the two hook and bars that I used. Excuse the shocking state of those and the appalling insertion of the zipper, but you know me and zippers, guys, they absolutely despise me. So just a round up of my thoughts of this pitting. Now that I have figured out those big band pieces, that was kind of the only issue that I had. And also, pattens are not made for every shape and size, so you are going to expect to do a few tweaks, which when I make another pattern or when I make another garment, I will just allow for the tweaks that would need to be required across the bust area for me. But you can play around with this pitty. You could do different lengths, and I made a floor length. I think a knee length would be good as well. It does say that on the pattern, but you can play around with it and do whatever you want. So it's quite versatile like that, I think. And also experiment with different fabrics, with the drape and weight of the fabric. it gives different balance, different movement and shape to the construction of the dress. Righto guys, that is it for this week. Let me know if you have this pattern, if you've ever sewn it and what you think of it. I hope you guys are staying safe wherever you are in the world with all what's going on and everything. So if you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Happy sewing everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Righto guys, I really don't know why I bother. We need chitch beers, traffic, ambos, dogs are barking, sirens, alarms, birds, which is great, but you know. Just gonna tear my hair out. I say rude curse words.